Calgary Flames fans are fired up after they got absolutely no help last night in their pursuit of a playoff spot. The Flames already have a slim chance to squeak into the postseason, but after a night of zero assistance, there are limited scenarios left where the Flames get in. The bottom line is that the Flames still need to win, and it's fun having meaningful hockey at this time of year. We're going to get into all that and more in this video, but first I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family, and let's talk about how there's no help. That is what Calgary Flames fans are the most fired up about right now. Last night, the Flames, believe it or not, or fans of the Flames, needed to cheer for the Vancouver Canucks. And not only the Canucks, but also the Seattle Kraken. And, well, maybe they got a little bit of help because St. Louis technically didn't win, but still the Flames kind of didn't get the help they needed, especially when it looked like they were going to, as if we checked the scores of the games that mattered most. The Kraken did actually beat the Blues in a shootout in this one, which helps us out slightly, obviously. But the Minnesota Wild get another overtime win down the stretch. How many of these can they get as we get into, mid-April, essentially? The Canucks were up 2-0 in this game and gacked it because they're just petty and didn't want, obviously, to help the Flames. And Minnesota wins this game, which really gives us no help. And Flames fans across social media were obviously upset, and for the most part, it was quite funny here. I'll show you some of the best memes that I saw. So this was the best one here. Little King of the Hill template here. Flames saying thanks for nothing to the Canucks and the Kraken. At least the Kraken beat St. Louis in a shootout, but they also had the lead in this game, and obviously St. Louis ended up winning it. They didn't have a late lead by any means, but still, the fact that both Vancouver and Seattle were winning at one point and would have given both Minnesota and St. Louis regulation losses would have been huge. But yeah, thanks for nothing is an understatement. The other one here, all my homies hate the Canucks. There were obviously some profanity I had to blur out here. But yeah, all my homies hate the Canucks, and boy, do we have even more of a reason to hate Vancouver now. We already obviously have them as a huge rival, but after it almost seemed intentional and that the team needs to be investigated for throwing that game, man, we just have all the reason to hate them even more, and we really did get absolutely no help. So I understand why Flames fans are fired up about this, but at least we're doing it in a funny way across the internet. If we take a look at the standings now heading into Sunday, the Wild go up to 95 points with just one game left, and St. Louis goes up to 94 points with just one game left as well. Now, the Flames are at 90 points, so 4 behind St. Louis and 5 behind Minnesota, but we do still have 3 games, so we can max out at 96, and I'm going to dive further into all of the playoff scenarios in just a little bit here, but essentially, the Flames just have to win. I know they have a bit of a more difficult schedule. Minnesota and St. Louis have some easier games left, but we'll just, of course, have to wait and see. If we bring up the money puck wheel, of course, the Flames switch positions on here, not in terms of percentage, obviously, but I don't know why they got flipped with Minnesota. It's kind of throwing me off, but the Flames are up to a 10.2% chance to make it, or that might even be down from yesterday. It definitely was. I believe the Flames were at 18 going into yesterday's games, now down to 10.2. Man, stupid Vancouver. If Minnesota had lost in regulation, or if St. Louis had lost in regulation, it really would have opened the door, and we could have, controlled our own destiny. We could have, if we just win out, then we're in no matter what. But, of course, St. Louis now 91.5% chance to get in, whereas Minnesota now 98.3% chance. I believe all they need is just 1 point, and they have secured a playoff spot. But the odds are against us. There's slim chances that the Flames can fit in, but why don't we dive into some of these playoff scenarios here where the Flames can still get in? And I'll show 2 different great Flames minds of what they're saying. So we'll start with Pat Steinberg and then dive further in with Ryan Pike. So all credit due to both of those gents for the info here. But Pat Steinberg said, so Flame situation after St. Louis gets a point in a shootout loss, Mini gets 2 in overtime. So Calgary is automatically eliminated if Minnesota get a point Tuesday against Anaheim, which is likely. Anaheim sucks. Calgary would auto be eliminated if St. Louis gets a regulation win Tuesday versus Utah, which again, Utah's been actually playing some good hockey, so I think we have obviously a much better chance of getting St. Louis, and we'll go into the tiebreakers in a second here. But Calgary is also auto-eliminated if Calgary loses again in regulation. Flames must go a minimum of 2-0-1 and get help. So no regulation losses. It's just we can't have that happen, and that'll all obviously begin tonight. He did clarify what he was saying up above here with this. So first two scenarios mean Calgary can't catch the specific team in question. So Minnesota would automatically be qualified over Calgary if they get a point. St. Louis would automatically be qualified over Calgary if they get a regulation win Tuesday versus Utah. It's not saying, if either of those or if both of those happen, obviously the Flames would be out. But if one happens, the Flames can still get above. But if they lose in regulation, then they're out. Now, the first two, any Calgary regulation loss eliminates them regardless. Scenarios could also evolve depending on Sunday's result, obviously against San Jose, which we will get into. But like I said, we'll dive in a little bit further if that was somewhat unclear. So this is from an article written by Ryan Pike. Won't go over the whole thing, but it does explain how we can still get in. So can the Flames pass Minnesota? Let's start with Minnesota. So can the Flames pass Minnesota? Yes. But the Wild have clinched the tiebreaker on the Flames, so Calgary needs to finish with more points than Minnesota. And as we know, we can only max out at 96. Minnesota's already at 95, which means they would have to lose in regulation, and we would have to win the rest of our games. So the Flames must win all three games, regulation or overtime or a shootout, doesn't matter, just get those points. And the Wild cannot get any points out of Monday night's regular season finale with Anaheim, which again, you'd expect in a do-or-die game, Minnesota won't gack it against Anaheim, but hey, you never know. We asked Vancouver and Seattle for help. Now we're asking Anaheim for help. I don't have that much hope, to be honest. So can the Flames pass Minnesota? Yes, but it's not as likely. Now, can the Flames pass St. Louis? This is a little bit more likely. Yes, and there are a few scenarios where it could happen. If the Blues lose in regulation to Utah on Tuesday and finish with 94 points, the Flames would need to finish with 95 or 96 points to pass them. That means 2 wins and an overtime or shootout loss, or 3 wins of any kind. Again, it won't matter on regulation or overtime or anything. If you finish with more points, you're in, obviously. If the Blues get a point against Utah and finish with 95 points, the Flames would need to finish with 96 points to pass them, which would mean that they would need 3 wins again of any kind. So we now have, I guess, the regulation tiebreaker if the Flames continue to get regulation wins, of course. I mean, obviously, that's a major fingers crossed thing, but there are obviously scenarios here where the Flames can get in. If the Blues get an overtime or a shootout win against Utah and finish with 96 points, but only 31 regulation wins, then the Flames could finish with 96 points and win via tiebreakers, but only if they get 3 regulation wins. So that's, the bottom line, like I said in the intro, is just get regulation wins at this point. Both teams would finish with 96 points, but the Flames would have the first tiebreaker, so 32 regulation wins compared to St. Louis's 31. And again, that's all in a hypothetical scenario that we obviously have our fingers crossed for. Fingers crossed that the Flames finish ahead of both these teams, but that's probably the most unlikely scenario out of them all. Now, if the Blues get a regulation win against Utah and finish with 96 points and 32 regulation wins, then it's impossible for the Flames to pass them because they wouldn't win the first tiebreaker. If the two teams tie at 96 points and 32 regulation wins, then St. Louis would win the second tiebreaker, regulation and overtime wins 40-37. So long story short, the Flames need 3 regulation wins and some help to play past Thursday night's regular season finale. It's tough. The Flames obviously are playing very meaningful hockey. It's been fun lately. It's going to be tough. They definitely can do it, but as we just saw with the money puck percentage, only about a 10% chance that one of these scenarios goes in Calgary's favor. There's always the chance Anaheim and Utah could win and do us a major favor, and do it in regulation would be huge, but the Flames do need some help, and they need to win some tough games down the stretch. But no matter what, it will obviously be very, very fun, and no matter what, Flames fans are just fired up at this entire season. Now let's get into tonight's game, as it obviously should be a very fun one. Let's see if I can find the right button here for it. There it is. Okay, sweet. So the Flames play at 6 p.m. tonight against the San Jose Sharks. You would think that the Flames would win this game, but man, we have been let down before. As long as Nick Ritchie doesn't make an appearance in this game, I'll be happy. But yeah, this one goes at 6 p.m. down at the Dome. There's still loads of tickets available if you're free and not wanting to watch the final round of the Masters, want to go watch the Flames instead. Tonight would be a good night for it. But yeah, it should be great. I expect a great crowd at the Dome, and hopefully the Flames can take care of business, get the job done, and get those 2 points in regulation against the league's worst team. Now let's wrap up this video with the comment of the day, as we love to do here on the channel. And this was a great one. It's something that I've kind of echoed in this video quite a bit, but it's just so true what this user said. So one of these years said, whatever happens, it's just amazing that this team is playing meaningful games in mid-April with a nice red heart there. And that is 100% true. No one thought the Flames would be playing meaningful hockey in mid-March, let alone mid-April. So it truly is just an incredible season that the Flames have had. And hopefully, with a little bit of luck, the season can continue past Thursday. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe like you saw here today and have a wonderful rest of your day.